years on from the Romanian Revolution, and 100,000 orphans remain in institutions, exactly the same number as during Ceausescu's time. Harsh economic conditions have left most families struggling financially. Baby Maria's mother left her at a hospital a few days after her birth. For now, Sighet orphanage is her only home. Romanian children continue to be abandoned by mothers unable to cope. 10 years ago this month, the world was shocked by pictures of children living in squalid conditions, often several to a cot, without proper sanitation or heating. Millions of dollars were raised as charities and aid organizations were spurred into action. Things have improved, but a lot of the aid was short-term and much of it mismanaged. As a result, there's often not enough money for basics. Recently, this orphanage in the northwest of the country was forced to appeal for food from local factories. As it is, food is inadequate and malnutrition is not uncommon. Tador was one of the lucky ones, adopted by a family at the age of 4. He's now a social worker for the European Children's Trust. The ECT is working towards closing the orphanages and encouraging fostering within local families. Tador understands only too well the benefits of family life.
This isn't an ideal place where a child should grow, but the social workers try to close this buildings, so such institutions. I'm doing my best in this because I was, let's say, one of those children that lived in the Leagăn, and I know how can life be in an institution and how the life is in a family.
Alexandru and his sister Adela are now enjoying family life after being fostered in the village of Calineș, 2 of around 100 children who found alternative care in the region. Little has changed in this part of Romania for centuries. Shepherds still move their sheep to new pastures as the seasons change. Motorised transport is uncommon. These people are on their way to the weekly market outside Calineș, as they've always done. The majority of people live off the land. Things are changing, though. Livelihoods now are not dependent on animals and crops alone. Up to $40 a month is available for families willing to foster the country's orphans. Gypsy boy Attile is one of 23 orphans fostered in the village. He's enjoying rural life. Initially shy and reserved, he's now learnt to relax. His foster mother has 2 natural children, but wanted to help another child. And the money helps too. She says Attila's flourishing within the family.
Children in institutions aren't looked after properly. There aren't enough staff to care for all their individual needs.
Andrea was taken in by Maria Barlin earlier this year. Maria heard about the fostering scheme from her local priest. Although she has land and animals, she was officially unemployed with no regular income.
Because of my age, there aren't many jobs that I can do. So I thought if I fostered a child, it would be good for both me and the child.
Ever since they were abandoned in an orphanage, Alexandru and Adela have been inseparable. Now they live within an extended family. Adela was fostered by Vasile and her brother by Vasile's sister. The children live next door to each other and play together most of the day. Vasile says one extra child isn't any great burden.
Un gest umanitar. un gest
It was
umanitar.
just a
Pentru că
humanitarian
unde
gesture.
mănâncă
I
doi
didn't do it
copii
for
ai
the
mei,
money.
poate să mănânce și
I can
celălalt,
afford to give
al
food
treilea,
and a bed to an
care
additional child.
nu are nici mamă, nici
It's
tată.
important that an
Și un copil care
institutionalized
este la
child
casa de
gets a
copii
chance to
sau
live in a family.
într-o instituție de asta de stat,
Because an
nici
institutionalized
memoria,
child
nici
doesn't get the
ăsta nu îi se
chance to
dezvoltă.
develop.
Pentru că
They're
el
just told what to
e
do.
ca un fel de
Just like a computer.
teleghidat.
Și m-am gândit că ar fi
I love
pe lângă
children,
că
and I've only one child of my own.
avem,
So I thought it
suntem
would be good for him
plătiți
to have a brother.
și un,
Financially
vă
it's good, as it means I'm officially
Dumnezeu
employed,
cred că ne va
so I'll
răsplăti
get a
pentru că
pension.
sunt niște copii nevinovați.
ECT project manager Eileen Brady says people were initially suspicious of fostering. Now there's a waiting list of willing foster parents.
Fostering within Romania is very new. It's a new scheme which has been set up probably for about 18 months. And initially I think people were very suspicious about it and not quite sure really what it was all about. Didn't understand the idea of looking after someone else's child in their own home. However, after we'd recruited our first group of foster carers, the interest from that grew and we've had an overwhelming response. And currently we have 46 foster carers, but also we have probably at least another 100 people who are on a waiting list and who would like to be considered for fostering.
Last year, Romania set up a state department for child protection with power devolved to local authorities. It's a more advanced system than most European countries, set up under pressure from the European Union. Changing long-established Romanian attitudes to childcare, though, is not easy.
It is very difficult to change the traditionally accepted opinion that the state is raising children, and that because for years and years in this country the state substitutes to the family into the responsibilities in front of the child. It is difficult to do it because of the economic crisis period, and it is more difficult to do it into an administrative system which is working for more than 20 or 30 years.
Since 1990, 40% of orphaned children have been put into alternative care. Despite this, Romanian orphanages are still struggling to cope. Child experts say that even with the improvements, they're not ideal places for children. Next year, this orphanage is set to close, with many of the children going into foster care. They are the lucky ones. They have the backing of Western charities. The government may be keen to encourage fostering, but as ever, money is in short supply.